Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. As areas across the globe have been reopening following the global pandemic, ARH has in turn massively ramped up its efforts to support IRL, or in real life, play and events for Star Wars Destiny. Now, there's no doubt that on the surface, this is certainly a high-effort, low-payout endeavor. It's undeniable that the primary vehicle of the future of competitive Star Wars Destiny play will indeed exist in some sort of online environment. In fact, it's even recently been brought to my attention that there are elements in the Destiny community that are feeling IRL is too much of a focus, and are even asking if calories would be better spent elsewhere. And while I agree, as I just said, that the primary vehicle of Destiny's survival is online, tonight I'm here to talk about why IRL play in Destiny is incredibly, insanely important, and it's not for the reason that you might think. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks, and welcome back to the Commando Cast. Here we are once again together on another Destiny Friday, and I could not be more excited to have the chance to come back and talk big clunky dice with you guys for one more week. Now, ironically, I do want to start tonight talking about and promoting the upcoming Destiny event in Portland, the Rumble in P-Town. Now, I say ironically because, yes, it might seem a bit self-serving to talk about how important IRL play is, while at the same time I'm promoting my own IRL tournament. A bit self-serving, perhaps, maybe so. That said, we're going to do it anyway because it's damn important. Like, let's get together and roll some dice. So 1 week from today, basically, is the Rumble in P-Town, April 9th at Gunray Games in Portland, Oregon. If I haven't said Portland enough, and you didn't know where it was, now you do. So I'll have the link below. You can go click that, check it out. Come join us. It's going to be a great time. Hoping to have lots of people there. Should be awesome to get together and see what you crazy kids come up with. So, all right, with all that out of the way, I want to talk about the premise for tonight's cast, right? Which is IRL play matters, but not for the reason that you might think that I would be here telling you that IRL play matters. It matters because of the human element. The presence and activeness of IRL Destiny will undoubtedly affect how Destiny the game itself, right? And by this I mean ARH Destiny, is designed and develops going forward. A lack of the human element will undeniably lead to a more aggressive and unforgiving and more power-creeped format. Now, supporting IRL play has always been a part of ARH's charter, offering print-and-play PDFs, partnering with companies to offer real tangible product, and etc. It's always been there. Yet from the beginning, they, as an organization, faced a lot of headwinds in that department. And let's be honest, one can't really blame a player for feeling that way initially, right? By and large, those that were in charge of ARH initially in the early days were none other than the very ones responsible, by and large, for promoting Destiny online play, even way back in the days when IRL Destiny was strong, right? The Artificery League was one of the largest online successes, and that's now known as Gandork's League, or whatever it's actually called, right? But that had kicked off in the early days of Destiny and was a big deal in the big day. It was a big deal for the big deals in Destiny, right, even back then. So when those same people move into being in charge, I think it was fair for a lot of the community at large at the time to have concerns about how that would develop, right? And then you add on to that, going into the pandemic at the same time, when we spent the better part of 2 years playing behind our computer screens, and there was a lot of headwinds there, right? But we've seen, again, that they never stopped doing their print and play. The main cards, sure, they had the TTS updates ready, but the main cards were always available. They were always there, right? So ARH has stood by their initial charter, despite a lot of us, myself at times included, being concerned that it wouldn't be, right? So they've certainly demonstrated that fact. Now, the human element part of this, right? And I do want to make one more comment, right? That the inspiration, as I kind of mentioned in the intro, the inspiration for this is a comment was made to me this week by an individual saying, yeah, it's been really interesting. We've been getting some pushback from the community. We've seen words in the community that people are actually concerned that there's too much effort being put into IRL play and not enough focus on online play, which is very interesting because to my knowledge, none of the online tournaments have gone away. The only thing that they've done, ARH being they, the only thing that's happened is that the ratio of IRL support to online support has obviously decreased, I guess, depending on which one's the numerator and which one's the denominator. But if you were to put online play divided by IRL play, it went from infinity to not infinity, right? Because they've been putting effort in that. So sure, it has the ratio of focus has decreased. But to my knowledge, none of the actual online availability has gone down, right? So that's very interesting. So we can get in all sorts of argument about right? We can get into all of that, right? But what I really wanted to talk about tonight is why IRL matters, not just from having it available. I mean, the obvious thing is to have it available for people who don't want to play online, people who want to roll those big clunky dice, which all brought us to the game in the first place. I mean, that is very obvious. You don't need some talking head in a square, or I guess it's a rectangle. You don't need some talking head in a rectangle to tell you that, right? We all get it. But why I'm so passionate about the need for IRL play, and maybe it's not just IRL play, but it's friendly interactive play, is I want you to really think about, maybe some of you play Hearthstone, or you play Magic Arena, or any other game in which you play some sort of game competitively against some person, some entity on the other side of a computer screen whom you don't know, right? I do it myself. You'll win a game and you'll be like, yeah, screw you, or something like that, right? That's something that very rarely you would do to your opponent in real life, right? And let's think about the concept behind that. It's sure you're excited you won, maybe you were annoyed that they were playing some deck you didn't like, whatever the reason may be. We can all admit to ourselves that maybe we haven't physically said it, but we can all say in the back of our head, like, yeah, right? Or you've done something that you've done something to the computer screen, right? You've done something to the ones and zeros of the blips and beeps on your screen that you wouldn't have done to your opponent, right? So now let's think, like, we can all admit we've done that. Like, let's be honest with ourselves, right? To some extent, whatever it may be. Now let's think about the actual psychology behind that, right? It is a lot easier to play a deck. Right? Think about it. Think about the droids meta, right? SOH. There was a lot of people who just didn't bring droids because they didn't want their opponent to have a bad time, right? Same type of concept, right? There are a lot of cases in which you don't want to sit down and have your opponent have a bad time, right? As opposed to if you're playing across the computer screen, you don't really care as much if your opponent's having a bad time because you don't have to see their grimace. You don't have to see their dissatisfaction. Sure, you might still feel bad that you rolled just straight threes, right? We've all been there. But it's not as impactful as when you are sitting across the table. It's just not, because you lose that human element, right? Sure, we all know, I mean, especially in a community as small as ours right now, when we're playing these tournaments, you often know the individual, but how many of us have actually physically met the individuals that we're playing against, right? And if you have, maybe you've met them in passing, but do you really care about their emotions as much as someone in your local community who you would have gone and gotten a beer with, right? So, I mean, I think that's fair, right? Now, why does that matter aside from, just don't want to hurt our feelings? Like, what hurts, Andrew? My feelings. I get it. But why this matters for the development is that the people who are developing this game are also the people playing this game, right? So now let's move to a theoretical world where online play only exists and none of us interact ever, right? It is going to be easier for someone to have a dominant deck that just crushes, to develop a dominant deck that crushes, if they don't have to see the personal impact of someone not enjoying that deck, right? I want to be very clear here. I think ARH has done, by and large, a very, very, very excellent, fantastic job of creating deck archetypes that are competitive, deck archetypes that are fun. I mean, look at Bay's chart, right? Look at Guy Love, right? Guy Love it's playable, it's good, but it's not good enough to be competitive. but that is a good thing. And they decided to bring that. They knew it wasn't going to be top tier competitive. They probably didn't want it to be top tier competitive. They just wanted it to be fun. So again, this is not an Andrew assault on ARH, right? ARH has been doing a very good job of creating things for all players. But now imagine 5 years down the line where you don't have that level of interaction. You don't have that safety guard. It's just about what deck can I produce? What deck can I do? How good can this be, right? And let's take a step away from Destiny. And again, I know many of you do not play Magic, and that's why you're here, because you didn't like that. But Star Wars Magic, when it moved to Magic Arena, I don't know, was it 5 years ago at this point, whatever it was, right? If you look at what has happened, like Magic has been around for 30 years now, something like that, right? And if you look at the power creep of Magic within the last 5 years, I mean, sure, you can get technical about it, right? About how long it's been, whatever. I'm sure there are plenty of arguments about that, right? But if you look at the rate of creep, sure, creep always happens in these games. But if you look at the rate of creep since Magic went into a significantly repeatable online format such as Arena, Magic Online's been around forever, but if you look at Arena, right, it attracted a lot of people. It's flashy. There's things on the screen, ching, 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 right? It's like playing a slot machine. If you look at that, like Magic has really gone insane in the last 5-8 years, whatever it may be, right? And a lot of that has to do with a majority of the play, especially within the last 2 years, right? But they're developing before that, I get it. But a majority of the play is not two people interacting. A majority is me interacting with blips on a computer screen. And in that case, you crushing someone, I mean, let's be clear, in games, which is why we're all here in Destiny, right? In games like Magic, there are a lot of people who go and crush somebody and then they go home and get their personal jollies out of doing that, right? And that's why a lot of us don't like to be in that. But for those of us who are left in a game like Star Wars Destiny where the community is important and the community matters, at some point you start to lose that when you are just playing against blips and beeps on a computer screen. All right, so all of that aside, I know I kind of went out to prove my point, but that is why IRL play matters, right? Having fun, coming together, I'll steal it from LSS, right? But having fun, coming together to play great games matters. The human element matters, even from and not from an interaction standpoint. Well, it does for having fun interaction standpoint, but it bleeds into the development standpoint, right? What if it's just, if the same 16 people, right? So, let's be honest, that's what inspired this cast. Somebody out there, maybe it's just one person, I don't know, maybe it's elements, whatever. Somebody's bitching that too much effort's being put into IRL play, right? Despite the fact that they haven't lost anything, despite the fact that nothing has been cost to them, someone's upset that IRL play is coming back. Now, this is probably just one cranky dude, and maybe he got taken out of context, whatever it may be, right? But the point of the matter is, that type of person probably also doesn't see the need for a base turret, right? It's all about how competitive can this be? That's where our focus should be, whatever. And then what are you left with? You're left with a community of 30 to 50 people, maybe, who only know each other as their call signs and they don't know each other's real name. And in that case, do you care if somebody's having a bad time or if you're just winning, right? And I think, that's why I'm still here, guys, in this community, is because the community does matter to me. As much as many of you may disagree with, right, my positions and who I am and things I've said in the past, you can't deny that I'm here because I love doing what we do, right? That's one thing you can't argue with, right? So the human element matters to me. And I know it matters to you guys because that's what we care about. That's what we talk about all the time, is how great this community is, right? It's a good game, but the community's better, right? And if we take away the community part about it and we all just become each other's hashtag on the Discord, I know that's not a thing, just roll with it, right? We become each other's hashtags on the Discord. We don't care about the human element, and it will bleed into the way that the game is designed. It will bleed into what comes out of these sets, and it will bleed into our ability to drag more people in, kicking and screaming to this game in how it's approached. Right? Because if you want to go and have just the most competitive punch you in the face game, go play something else. Go play Flesh and Blood, right? Go play something that's competitive focused. Whereas something like Star Wars Destiny is here for the community and the players to enjoy. And if we lose that human element, if we lose the back and forth part of it, we lose so much of what makes this game, and what makes this community. Now, I'm not trying to be overly deep here, right? And I do want to hit back, and I want to acknowledge that, yeah, there are tons of people in this community. I mean, there are tons of people in the community, on the DC team community, that I've never met in person. And many of us, I would consider to be friends or acquaintances or buddies or whatever the proper term is. I get it. So I'm not saying that those relationships cannot be built online. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if all of this boils down to just the Echo Base League, the DC team tournament, and then the Sunday tournament combined with the Artificery League, it's going to be different, right? The IRL play, bringing the casual play back, having those interactions and just rolling dice casually matters, not just to the community. Well, it does. It starts with the community. And then because the community are the designers, right? So then when those community designers go back, does it become, let's develop something for Crazy Andrew who loves Bay's Churret? Or is it just, let's go develop something for the guys who want to smash face all day, right? Like, are we doing decks for whomever, or are we doing decks for Andrew, right? That matters, right? Are we making decks something that Sarah Evans is going to enjoy playing, or is it just, uber punch you in the face competitive, right? That does matter, and it will over time, it will bleed into and continue to affect the way that this game develops, which will directly affect our enjoyment in the future. So anyway, that'll do it. I feel like I've just been lecturing for 15 minutes, but that's how I feel about it, right? I feel that IRL is beyond important, and not just because, it's important because of the human element, but not just because of the interaction part of that, but because of the fact that we will care about how good the game is, as opposed to just making stuff that's better, right? And that will help all of us in the long run, and it will help the game in the long run, and it will be more fun and more enjoyable for all of us. So anyway, lecture over. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. But if nothing else, go Commando.